What is up, Star Seeds? It's Sid, and today I wanted to talk about a pretty unique subject. I haven't seen or heard anyone talking about this subject before, and I know it might be like controversial or touchy for some of you, so I just wanted to say that this is coming from like the most loving place ever, and I'm just kind of trying to give people some clarity on this if they fall into one or multiple of these categories and labels. And I really hate these labels, um, but they were made for a reason, just to kind of give people an understanding of certain ways people feel, certain types of relationships that people have, certain like identification um, things that people like go through. And in this 3D world, it can be hard to navigate this. We're on Earth right now, and it's just kind of all pretty weird having these like spiritual souls in these like dense bodies with this weird society on this planet, right? And it's just hard to navigate being like a high vibrational, high dimensional being in this low dimensional body right now with these lower vibrations around us right now. Um, so this is like LGBTQ plus like pansexual plus poly relationships, open relationships, which are totally different, and just like unusual relationships that aren't considered like normal, just like straight um, monogamous relationships. We're just gonna cover like all the other types of like relationships and gender identifications that people have. And gender is totally different than sexuality. So that's why I like may or may not have some timestamps in the descriptions if you're just like transgender watching this for some like reassurance, and watching this to see what someone with like a spiritual perspective has to say about this in a positive way. Or if you're, lesbian, bi, gay, whatever you identify as, and you want to fast forward to something like that, you know, or if you're in like an open relationship and you're just like, wow, I didn't know I was this weird. It's like, don't worry, you're really not weird. You're just more in touch with a different aspect of spirituality. Even if you're not spiritual and you're watching this, um, just know that like if you or someone you care about is or identifies as one of these labels, just kind of like why from a spiritual perspective. Um, and I guess I'm going to kind of start off by saying that I'm pansexual. I don't really walk around saying it. This might be kind of a surprise to some of you, because most of the, if not all of the relationships I've been in have been with a male. But no, like it really doesn't matter to me, guy, girl, both, neither, transgender, whatever you are. I don't care. I like souls for souls, and that's pretty much it. And I'm just gonna kind of explain from a spiritual perspective what I believe um, these types of people are more in touch with. So we're gonna start off with like LGBTQ and pansexual people and people who are just in like more unusual relationships, like even if it's like a guy and a girl, like a normal relationship. Um, if there's like an age difference and not a totally creepy way, like Zach's 5 years older than me, but if people are like, adults here, not talking about kids because that's absolutely disgusting and this video has absolutely nothing to do with that. That's a whole other, like, issue. This issue we're talking about here isn't an issue. It's just natural love, you know? If there is, like, a 30-year-old in love with a 50-year-old, 20-year age difference, I mean, some people would say that's kind of gross, but, like, really, I mean, they're both adults. If they met when the one person was already 30, I really don't have an issue with it. If people are in a relationship with people of different races, this would possibly be considered an unusual relationship. I mean, hopefully nowadays it's not. Hopefully now we're kind of past all that, because I've definitely been in relationships with black guys. I wouldn't mind being, you know, obviously now I'm, like, in a relationship, but no, like, it doesn't matter to me what color you are, what ethnicity you are, what gender you are. It doesn't matter. But people who are in relationships like this, they are just in touch with the fact that we are souls, infinite souls who have had other lives in very different bodies, and we will continue to. So they don't really care what body you're in now, you know? People who are specifically, like, lesbian, like a girl who wants a girl, they are someone who knows that they need that more feminine energy. If someone is gay, they're a guy who wants a guy, they want that more masculine energy, or it could literally just be a matter of preference, like they want that body type, and then this really isn't as spiritual of a matter, because, you know, it's not like guys they just have more masculine energy, because there could be a guy with feminine energy, there could be a girl with more masculine energy. It's just a matter of, you know, possibly they've been a different, like, masculine or feminine energy before. Not really anything to do with gender. Sexuality and gender is very, very different. So I guess now we're gonna talk about people who are transgender, people who choose, or who just, like, feel like they are, you know, from, like, the deepest part of their soul, another gender than what they were born as. It's because they're in touch with the fact that they have been that gender primarily in the past, and that's what they feel more comfortable as. And I do think they chose to incarnate as, you know, the opposite gender that they're used to kind of go through this struggle, to kind of bring this to light to people. And I feel like it's a beautiful thing, and people who choose to identify as both genders, they're just in touch with the fact that we all have this masculine and feminine energy about us, and they're just embracing all of that. People who choose to identify as, like, neither gender, same thing. They're embracing the fact that we've had many different lives, many different bodies, you know, different masculine, feminine energy levels. And they're just like, no, like, I'm neither. Really, just because they're embracing all of it. And that's just how they choose to kind of navigate that in this 3D world. People who are in open relationships, whether it be, you know, guy girl, girl girl, guy guy, guy girl guy, whatever, they are just, like, in touch with the fact that we've been in romantic relationships with many different people before, because we've had many different lives. And they're okay, like, continuing to have a relationship with someone that is suiting them on, you know, their spiritual journey and their path this life. But they're okay with the fact that, like, you can have connections with other people, because you're always going to. And they're just at a point where they're not, you know, jealous by this. They're not, you know, it doesn't affect them in a negative way. It affects them in a positive way to be able to have these connections with these other people and still have a connection with one person, because they're just in touch with the fact that we have many different soulmates. And, you know, soulmates isn't always romantic, of course. It can definitely be, you know, a friend soulmate. But they're in touch with the fact that we have these romantic connections with lots of different people, because that's just how the universe works. And then people who are in like poly relationships, you know, not monogamous, okay, this is like totally different than open relationships, totally different than like everything else we've talked about before. But these people, pretty much it's for the same reason as open relationships. It's just a totally different kind of relationship. It's a relationship where you're in a relationship with like multiple different people. Now, this could just be one person is with multiple different people and the partners are okay with it, or this could be like a trouble or like 4 people, 3 people, however many people in a relationship, because they all care about each other. And people like this, it's like I said, for the same reason. They're embracing the fact that we have these multiple different connections, and they just express this in a different way, you know. And that's really it. I feel like I've kind of hit all of these unusual relationships that people have in this world. And I just want to say, whatever relationship you're in, and plus, like, you know, because of like the LGBTQ, whatever you call that thing with the letters, acronym, whatever it is, because like the T is included in that, I did want to touch on like gender, because it is just like a spiritual thing. And even though gender is totally different than sexuality, it's for some of the same spiritual reasons that people identify as that, and they just like feel this from the bottom of their soul. So all of these relationship gender identifications, it simply has to do with really just being in touch with the universe more than the average person, and just that's how they navigate it in this 3D world. And that's just why I wanted to do this video, to give people clarity and be like, no, don't feel weird if you're going through these feelings. Know that you're really just like more in touch with the universe, honestly. Like, I feel like the universe is pansexual. I feel like the universe is both genders. I feel like, you know, in the future, possibly everyone might just be choosing to identify as that. I don't know. Who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows? And if you're just like in a normal relationship, like a monogamous straight relationship, that is totally fine too, okay? That might be the normal, and you might be okay with that. And if you are, that's great too. And like, you don't feel like to fit in you have to be one of these not normal identifications, okay? It's whatever works for you, and if you don't want to identify as anything, don't identify as anything. Just say, I don't know, man, I'm just a soul living life, because that's pretty much what I've been doing. And that's really all I wanted to say. Please take this with all the love that is coming from this, because I am not making this video to hate on anyone. I'm just making this video to kind of give people clarity and closure and comfort, and explain it from a spiritual perspective, in case you were wondering. So yeah, love and light, and the hybrid children are coming soon.